Hi and welcome everyone to another video on my channel. My name is Denis and today I'm going to show you some of the best players to buy for Gaming 2 or Fantasy Premier League. Now, if you enjoy my content, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button, but now let's get into it. Okay, now before starting my video, I just want to say some things about what's going on at the moment because I think that it is a little bit crazy. I will try to be short. Now, everybody is worrying, everybody is panicking about how their Game Week 1 is going at the moment, and that reaction is normal. It's Game Week 1 of Fantasy Premier League. A lot of players who you didn't pick are going to get a lot of points, and a lot of players you picked maybe are not going to be as good as you expected. That is normal, but just try to remember, guys, it's just Game Week 1. Try to not panic, try to relax a little bit. The most important thing is that you didn't pick this team. You think about for 1 month, for 2 months, maybe for 3 days, just for Game Week 1. You picked that team for at least 10 game weeks or something like that, unless you're on a wildcard early or bench boost Game Week 1 strategy, but that doesn't really matter. You build your squad, just try to not judge it by just one game week, because I can guarantee you that a lot of things are going to change in the next 1, 2, 3 game weeks, and you will not want to make your rash decisions right now. So unless you have really big problems into your team, or maybe you just think that you made really big mistakes, then I don't recommend anyone to make transfers in Game Week 1. But obviously the most important thing would be to try to roll the transfer in Game Week 1 if you don't have any problems with your team, and try to not judge so much in just one game week. But again, today we're going to talk about some players I think that are going to be great buys for Game Week 2 if you really want to make a transfer. I'm going to talk about Antoine Semenyo. It's not a knee-jerk. I know that he scored 2 goals against Liverpool. I can guarantee you that he's not going to score 2 goals every game week. This is football, but I just think that the fixtures are really good for Bournemouth. Wolverhampton, as you can see, at home. Next, Tottenham, Brighton, Newcastle and Leeds. This is a really decent run of fixtures for Bournemouth. The only problem with Semenyo is that he's 7 million, and as I said before, I don't recommend anyone to transfer your players. Players like Wirtz, players like Bruno Fernandes, players like Palmer. So I just think that you should try to give them a little bit more time to prove themselves. So therefore there aren't a lot of players to transfer out to get someone like Semenyo, unless you have a lot of money into your bank. Now right now I think that he rised in price, so he's 7.1 millions, not a lot. You can't even sell someone like Rodgers to Semenyo, and definitely I would not recommend you to do that move. But the fixtures are decent, as I said before, for Bournemouth. I think that he's going to be a decent pick at that price. But as you can see, he scored 2 goals against Liverpool. Usually he's getting a lot of chances, but also he's missing a lot of chances. Now I think that Semenyo is going to be a decent option in the next period of time, mostly because of the fixtures. And we saw against Liverpool, a team who usually are defending okay. Now I'm not saying that Liverpool defending amazingly against Bournemouth in that night at home, but we saw that Bournemouth are still going to be a decent team, as we predicted in the preseason. Even without all the defenders who left Bournemouth, they are still going to be a great attack. Kluivert is going to be back on the team. That's just going to help Semenyo, Evan Nilsson. These players are going to be decent for the next period of time. And as you can see from these statistics, now obviously it is just one game week. As I said before, it is really tough to try to understand what's going to happen in the future with just one game week. But he scored 2 goals. He had an XG of 0.91, so he overperformed a little bit his XG, obviously, but he looked really good against Liverpool. The fixtures are going to be better. They are going to play against Wolverhampton in Game Week 2, and we saw they weren't amazing against Manchester City. So I just think that the fixtures are great for Bournemouth. If you really want to take a punt, if you really want to make an early transfer, I think that Semenyo is the one for you. Now again, if you didn't make the transfer before the price rise, probably I would just leave it like that. I would not transfer someone like Wirtz, someone like Palmer, someone like Bruno Fernandes to Antoine Semenyo. I would just give them a little bit more time. Okay, now moving forward, we're going to discuss a little bit about Tijani Reijnders from Manchester City. What a Premier League debut for him. He was incredible in that match. And again, this is where a lot of people are going to struggle, I think, because if you don't have into your team, clearly you want to have him into your team, because the fixtures are decent for Manchester City and he looked amazing against Wolverhampton. Now what I want to try to make you remember, guys, they played against Wolverhampton, so that was the easiest game for Manchester City. He's not going to get 10 points every game week, I can guarantee you that. The fixtures are decent, don't get me wrong. Tottenham, Brighton, Manchester United, Arsenal, Burnley, but are not amazing or something like that. So I just don't think that you should rush to sell someone like Wirtz, someone like Palmer, someone like Salah to Reijnders. I just don't think that's the case, because as you saw yesterday, a lot of people talked about selling someone like Anderson to Reijnders before Anderson even played, and there was a big chance Anderson outscored him. So again, we're not going to talk too much about Anderson. I think that he's a great option, in particular at 5.5 millions. I just think that we should try to not panic that much, because these players are going to score a lot of points, and you should try to assess what's the best for your own team. Because again, I understand if you didn't have someone like Reijnders, it is really frustrating, because he looked amazing. It looks like he's going to get a lot of minutes for Manchester City. When Rodri is going to be back, he's going to play maybe an even more advanced role. Again, it is still Manchester City. I don't think that he's going to get 90 minutes every game week. There is that possibility with Pep Guardiola to see him bench in some games. We just saw that with Marmoush, a player who played pretty much all the game for Manchester City last season, from when he transferred to Manchester City, obviously. So again, I think that he's an amazing player. I think that he's going to be a great value pick, probably maybe the best one this season. But I just don't think that if you have players like Ismail Assar, if you have players like Rodgers, I just don't think that you should transfer them out to someone like Reijnders at the moment, because those players are going to have decent fixtures. So just like Reijnders has played against Wolverhampton in game week 1, someone like, for an example, Rodgers is going to play against Brentford in game week 2, which is a great fixture at the moment, because they conceded a lot of goals against Nottingham Forest, which were really bad attacking wise. So again, there are a lot of calculations. He looked amazing. He got an XG of 0.12 and an XA of 0.21, so not something fantastic or something like that, but he played a lot of minutes. He scored 1 goal, he scored 1 assist. It is a little bit weird that he didn't get any bonus points, but again, I think that for Manchester City, a player under 6 millions is going to be great value. And again, if you have players like maybe someone like Arias, who didn't play in the first game week, and maybe you think that he's not going to get a lot of minutes at the moment, at least, maybe you can sell him for someone like Reijnders in some cases. Usually, if I was me, and obviously it is tough for me to try to understand how you're feeling, because obviously I have him in my team, but if I didn't have Reijnders in my team, I would try to not transfer him in for game week 2, I think. But it is easy to say now that I have him into my team. Now he is 5.6 million, so he rised in price already. So again, I don't know. If you have someone like Minte, if you have someone like Mitoma, and you really don't want them into your team, or some of your other midfielders are injured or something like that, then yeah, you can get someone like Reijnders. And maybe you just want to get that value up. Probably he's going to rise in price this week or next week again. So again, I think that he's a great pick. Just try to think a little bit for yourself if it is worth it to buy him for game week 2, because they're going to play against Tottenham at home. Definitely not a bad fixture, but Tottenham, definitely, we just saw that they are going to be a better team this season, and I can guarantee you that Reijnders is not going to get that many chances like he got against Wolverhampton. But yeah, famous last words. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's move to the next one. Okay, so the last player on my list for players to buy, it is Jorgen Strand Larsen from Wolverhampton. A little bit surprising, maybe you're thinking, because he just blanked against Manchester City, but just remember, it was against Manchester City. Strand Larsen is a player I considered a lot, and kinda at the moment I feel a little bit upset that I didn't go for him from game week 1, because the fixtures are going to get a lot better from game week 2 onwards. As you can see here, Bournemouth away, Everton, Newcastle, Leeds, Tottenham. So the fixtures are not amazing or something like that. Newcastle are not a bad defense. Everton are not a bad defense. Bournemouth, maybe. We need to see. They defended really well against Liverpool in game week 1. But again, Strand Larsen at 6.5 millions, I think that he can be a great value pick. And obviously, as I said before, maybe you saw a lot of people gone with João Pedro, myself included, and he was a little bit bad in game week 1. The subs, obviously, the lap is going to take a lot of minutes from João Pedro, but we knew that from beginning. We took that risk, and again, right now, I wish I had the opportunity to change my decision and to just have Strand Larsen into my team, because he's cheaper in the first place, and also he probably is going to be on penalties for Wolverhampton, and he also looked pretty good against Manchester City. As you can see, unexpected goals of 0.31 is really decent for a player like him, and also playing against Manchester City. So I think that moving forward he's going to be a great option, and I think that we're going to see him in a lot of teams, and I expect him to score a lot of points going forward. I want to talk also a little bit about defensive contributions, since it's the first game week of the season when we have this new metric. Now again, we're just going to discuss what's going to happen, what happened in game week 1. Obviously it doesn't really matter in the future, but as you can see here, this is for the defenders. Virgil van Dijk got 21 defensive contributions, so the only good thing here is that they got that system capped, so any other player can't get more than 2 defensive contribution points, which is great. Now usually this is not going to happen every game week. I can guarantee you guys, a player to get 21 defensive contribution is pretty much really high, so I don't think that we're going to see that every gaming. But these are the players who stood up in this category in game week 1. Virgil van Dijk, Lacroix, a player we talked a lot in the preseason, and also I'm a little bit upset that I don't have him in my team. Crystal Palace, maybe a defense I overlooked a little bit. They also defending amazing against Chelsea. Chelsea also were a little bit bad in attack, to be honest with you, but yeah, a surprising one here is Anuary with 15 defensive contributions. Now again, it is still Manchester City. I think that Anuary is not guaranteed to start every game week and to play 90 minutes every game week. He wasn't really that offensive for Manchester City, but again, 15 defensive contributions, that's pretty nice. Senesi, Saliba, Van de Berg, Eina, it is a little bit of a surprise also, because everybody was talking about Nico Williams, myself included. But again, it is just one game week, guys. Just try to not overthink too much. Try to not judge too much about what happened in game week 1 probably is not going to happen again in game week 2. And also here the players, Ballard again, a player from Sunderland, who is I think the most, he scored the most points this game week. I just don't think that we should just stack up now with defenders from Sunderland or players from Sunderland in general. But yeah, these things are going to happen, and we need to take into consideration this. It is not going to happen every game week for a defender to get defensive contributions, maybe like some of us expected. So I just want to put off a little bit our expectations. You pick a defender with if you pick a defender like Murillo, like Milenkovic Savic, just keep them, guys, because they are going to be great overall for defensive contributions also, and for the clean sheet. So my conclusion here is that these defenders are not going to get defensive contributions every game week, obviously. Now again, it is also really depends on which opposition they are going to play, the kind of game they are going to play. So again, we need to see how these are going to look forward. It is hard to decide on just one game, but now let's see for the midfielders. Okay, now if we move to the midfielders, let's see which midfielders got the most defensive contributions for game week 1. Again, just 9 midfielder hit that spot: Tavernier, Adams, Whiffler, Andre, Onana, Odegaard, Caicedo, Zubimendi, Cullen, and almost Szoboszlai. Bruno Fernandes was also on 11, so really close to get that defensive contribution cap. Now again, as you can see from this list, there are a lot of midfielders I'm not really interested to ever own in FPL this season probably, and these were my thoughts also in the preseason. I don't think that this system is going to impact us that much. Talking about midfielders, I think that this is going to impact more the defenders, but obviously an interesting one here is someone like Odegaard, who got 14 defensive contribution. Now Odegaard usually is a player who also has a little bit of an attacking threat. He has a lot of XA threat, to be more specific, but again, an interesting one. If he's going to get good minutes for Arsenal, he could be a great option also on some set pieces, but again, he's 8 millions. Now from these players, obviously, if you just want to buy someone like Caicedo, someone like Zubimendi, Again, these players obviously are going to be pretty decent for defensive contribution every game. A funny fact is that Mohamed Salah got 8 or 9 defensive contributions, if I'm not wrong, so he was really close of getting to that mark. I just find it a little bit funny because, yeah, obviously it's about Mohamed Salah, but again, with the midfielders, I think that it is a little bit more unpredictable for us to try to guess which midfielders are going to get these points. So again, we need to see what's going to happen. Game week 1 is just too little of information for us to draw the conclusion. Thank you so much for watching this video this long. I really appreciate it and it really means a lot. I really hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye. Bag buralar, când mă întreabă oamenii de unde sunt le zic